appraisal.
Mark, I'm on the line with a client. I need to speak to someone who could help with an erroneous assessment.
A what?
An erroneous assessment.
What does that mean?
My client's on the line with us. His name is Chris, and we have what we believe is an assessment that was issued in error. We need to speak with someone who can help with that.
Okay, is it a business or?
It's a property tax, a home.
Okay.
Or for business.
Oh, it's for a business. I'm sorry.
It's for a business. Okay. And you're Mark with who?
Just Mark Stevens.
Mark Stevens. And the properties for what company?
Audio.
Huh?
And audio.
Audio. Audio?
Yes, ma'am. With the property ID help?
Yes, please.
All right, it is 000.
Okay. Thank you so much. And hold on 1 second, please.
Okay.
Thanks for holding.
Yes?
Yes.
Who am I speaking with?
This is
My name is Mark Stevens. I have my client on the line. His name is. Do you have the paperwork? Are you aware? Do you have the file for the audio?
let's see. Are we talking about the real property or the business personal property, or what are we talking about?
How about the business?
Okay. Let's see. Do you have that account number?
It's 2
Mm-hmm.
00.
Okay. I have it pulled up. What can I help you with?
Well, I'm certain you guys, I'm sure you'll agree that you operate under the presumption that if somebody is physically in Texas, your Constitution and laws apply, and that gives you jurisdiction to require things such as the payment of taxes, correct?
Okay.
I want to know, because we don't see that there's any actual proof of that. So do you have any actual proof, so let's say evidence, relevant facts that would prove that just because Chris was physically in Texas, your Constitution and laws would apply?
I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand your question. And who am I speaking with?
Mark Stevens.
Okay. And you are?
I'm a consultant from Phoenix, Arizona, assisting Mr.
Okay. And where's Mr.
He is.
Yes.
Okay, Mr.
I'm
Mark.
here.
Okay. Are you giving me permission to talk to Mr. Stevens about your account?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, the account that I have pulled up that you've given me the number for is under Investments LLC. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So, yes. All right. Just want to make sure that was right. And let me see if I'm understanding your question correctly. Are you asking me if I have something that states we have jurisdiction to tax this property?
What I'm asking is if you have any proof that just because he's physically, or the property is physically in Texas, that your Constitution and laws apply, and that there's jurisdiction to tax it.
Yes, sir. I sure do.
Okay, what specific facts do you rely on to prove that just because he's physically in Texas, your Constitution applies to him?
Okay. Can I ask you why it wouldn't?
Well, you're the one who's making the accusation. You're the ones who are coming after him, so the burden falls on your shoulders.
Okay, and I'm just asking you a simple question.
Well, you'll have to answer my question before we can get into a discussion such as that. Do you have just yes or no? Do you have any? You already said you had. You believe you had such evidence. So do you have? So just to follow up, what specific facts would prove that just because he's physically in Texas, your Constitution apply to him?
Okay, give me just a second, okay? Let me get it pulled up because I want to read it word for word to you, okay?
Okay, don't read me a statute. That's not responsive.
Excuse me?
Don't read a statute to me because that wouldn't be responsive. I'm asking you a question of fact, not a question of law.
Hang on just a second, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
I'm going to let you talk to our chief appraiser, but he won't be back till Monday, so I'm going to give him this this note. If I could get your phone number for him to give you a call back.
Sure. It's 635.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you, what was your, to be able to identify you again, Brian, what's your last name? I'm sorry, there was some background noise. Could you repeat that?
Look.
So before I let you go, I just need a confirmation. At this time, even though you believed you had proof that just because the property's physically in Texas, your Constitution applies to him, you really don't have such evidence at the time right now.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'm going to let you talk to our chief appraiser about this issue.
Are you able to provide the evidence you said you had?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to give this message to our chief appraiser and have him give you a call back.
Got it.
To further discuss the matter.
I understand, but you answered in the affirmative before that you did have such evidence, and when I asked you for the specific facts, then you put me on hold for a while, and when you came back, you were passing it on to somebody else. So, just yes or no, do you have specific facts that would prove that just because the property is physically in Texas, the Constitution applies to him?
At this time, I'm going to turn this matter over to my chief appraiser. And he will handle it from here.
At this time. I've heard that like thousands of times just this year. But can you just please do me the courtesy and answer my question? At this time, do you have any specific facts to support your claim?
At this time, I'm going to turn it over to my chief appraiser, and he will take care of it, and you will receive a phone call back from him.
I appreciate that. However, please show me some good faith and the courtesy that I've shown you, the professionalism, treating you as an adult. Please answer my question. You said that you had evidence. When I asked you if you had specific facts, you put me on hold. I'm repeating myself here. At this time, are you able...
As am I.
But am I able to... But you see, you don't have to repeat yourself because you could just answer my question. Don't say at this time again because it's really insulting. I know you just want to end the phone call. Is it because
what I'm going to do, Mr. Stevens, is I'm going to turn this matter over to my chief appraiser, and he will handle it from here.
Are you telling me that he's going to give me the specific facts proving the Constitution applied to
what
the property?
You interrupted me. What I'm telling you is he is going to give you a call back.
Okay, but
and he will discuss this matter with you.
Is he going to provide the facts that you said you had?
I cannot put words into his mouth.
Okay, so we're right back to let me address what you said. Are you able to present specific facts that the Constitution applies just because he's physically in Texas?
I'm going to turn it over to my chief appraiser, and he will take care of the matter from here.
So you're not going... Okay, so do you have a supervisor? I want to speak to the chief appraiser.
He is my supervisor.
Oh, he is? And what's his name or her name?
Lee Flowers.
Lee Flowers. Well, Mr. Cook, it's kind of disappointing that... I mean, it's understandable. I know exactly what's going on. You spoke just a little too soon when you said you had such evidence, but when you were put on the spot to actually provide that, you can't.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Well, you could just answer the question instead of going and saying, at this time, I'm passing it off. You could just answer my question directly. You don't have to, okay? Because I can only assume that the reason why you're doing this to me and not acting in good faith is because you spoke too soon. You don't have any actual proof. If you do, you could just tell me right now, and we can move forward.
Mr. Stevens, I'm going to give this information to Mr. Flowers, and he will give you a call back regarding this matter.
But you won't answer my question about the specific facts you claim to have.
I'm going to let my chief appraiser handle this, okay?
Okay, because you...
I'm not trying to be rude about it, but you're being kind of belligerent and pushing me and putting words in my mouth.
But I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm trying to make sense of the situation.
Because what you're
interrupting
doing,
me again.
And you said yourself that you're assuming that just because I said something, and now I'm giving it to my chief appraiser who can better answer your question.
Well, see, now you're getting a little more specific. Better answer the question, because I'm just trying to find out whether you spoke too soon because you can't answer the question, and because you can't answer the question, your chief appraiser has to do that. And you won't be specific and tell me that, yes, Mark, when I said I had evidence, I really didn't, because I have to pass it off to somebody else who's better qualified to answer that question. That's all I'm trying to get you to.
Once again, you're putting words in my mouth.
Then why don't you just be upfront with me instead of just being vague? Why don't you just be specific with me and answer the question that I've asked like 4 or 5 times? Do you have the specific facts to prove that just because he's physically in Texas, your Constitution applies?
Mr. Stevens,
there you
all
go
I'm
again.
asking you to do is respect the fact that I am passing this to my chief appraiser who can better answer your questions.
And I want you to be
because
specific.
I feel that even if I answer this question, that's just going to lead to another question, and I would just rather him take care of this. That way you can get all of your answers all at one time.
I'm just trying to get you to be specific about and upfront about what is really happening. Because let me answer. You're cutting me off again. You said you had the evidence, but then you have to pass it off to somebody else. So you won't say yes or no whether you have the evidence or not. You're basically what you're doing is you just want to cover up a lack of evidence or a lack of qualification to answer the question, and you won't just come flat out and say, Mark, I spoke too soon. I don't have any evidence to prove this claim. I have to pass it off to somebody more qualified. Is that an accurate description of what's really happening?
Again, you're putting words in my mouth, Mr. Stevens.
Then enlighten us. Enlighten us. Tell us exactly why you're passing it off to somebody else, but be specific. Is it because you don't have the evidence? Is it because you're not qualified to discuss it?
You're pushing me to answer your question when I've already told you that I'm going to give this matter to my chief appraiser so that he can handle it.
Okay, so you're just not going to answer the question. Okay, it's pretty clear that you don't have the evidence and you spoke too soon, but we'll speak with the chief appraiser, Mr. Lee Flowers.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Have a good day.
You too.